I would like to give you the word.
Thank you, Christian. So, like Christian mentioned, we had a lot of acquisitions, and these acquisitions came with a lot of different platforms, different environments, which we need to take care of. So, I will briefly say about the migration, how we basically did the cloud migration. So, like Anupam mentioned earlier, we have three approaches which we could follow to migrate our workload into Google Cloud. So, based on our analysis of our existing workload, and we found that we basically touch base all these three approaches for the migration. So, beginning this year, I was given the task to design a cloud architecture for our very first game, which was one of the candidates which fell in lift and shift category. So, I completed design and I thought of implementing it myself because I had to create certain processes for our other team members who could basically take over from there and do the migration for remaining games. So I logged into the Google Cloud Console, and until I could run ls-l on the compute instance, it took me approximately 10 minutes time. 10 minutes. This is not what we look out for cloud. When we're using cloud, we should be like in minutes or seconds. Then the tool came which for my rescue or for our rescue, it's a deployment manager. So what I did is created a deployment manifest holding, which we can say is the infrastructure as code. So we used the deployment manager and created certain templates which has having the entire infrastructure set up that we need for a particular game to run on cloud. Then it took one single command and less than 10 minutes to spin up the entire setup, which is like probably 50 or 20 VMs, and it's ready for our game to launch. So for our entire migration, this is the tool we predominantly used, apart from some other tools as well and some manual efforts as well, where we basically couldn't do it through the tool. So as we started moving the workload, then we identified some of the workloads which were kind of 30% of the workload that were basically, that fell under the category which we can call improve and move. So we found those workloads to be semi-cloud native, I would say, where we could use the cloud managed services like Cloud SQL, Instance Group, Autoscaler, Global Load Balancers. So these are the few cloud, Google Cloud managed services that we could use for this 30% of the workload. And we also had a workload which we touched the third approach, rip and replace. But before that, I would like to just tell two aspects of the migration, the front end and the back end. So front end is where our application, or we call it the games, which we did basically through our deployment pipeline. So once we spin up the environment in Google Cloud, we use our CI/CD pipeline to deploy the game. And for the back end, which is the actual data, so wherever possible, we used replication of the data, and wherever it wasn't, we had a brief downtime and where we copied over the data to tools like ZSUtils. And while I'm on the data copying topic, I would also like to mention we have used Google Transfer Service as well to transfer our data from another cloud provider buckets to the Google Cloud storage buckets. So then came the rip and replace, which basically we have one platform, which is our very core platform, which was like running on bare metal, and we could basically transform this entire platform into very cloud native. We refactored it, and it is now running on Google Cloud completely. And probably Christian can give some more words on this platform.